Hi, everybody. Welcome to Power Bites with Purva. Another episode, another guest, another learning. Today is something I'm feeling a perfect day for a musical day. This is a special guest because my kids learn from her. My kids go here to learn, understand the music. When I heard a story, how she started, where she is, and how everything she did, what she did all by herself, I felt she has to be one of our guests to inspire me, inspire all of us. Veena, thank you so much for coming here today, doing this, taking the time off, and sharing your journey, sharing about notes and beats with us today. Thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure, Purva, to
Thank
be
you.
on your panel.
Thank you. Can you please tell our audience a little bit about you, a little bit about Notes and Beats, those of you who don't know you, who don't know what Notes and Beats are?
Absolutely. It'll be my pleasure. My name is Veena Pandiri, and I'm the founder of a music school called Notes and Beats Music Academy. We are situated in Ashburn, and we recently opened another studio in South Riding. But we also teach students from across the world, and we have teachers from across the world as well. So, where we stand apart from the rest is that we are the fusion of two amazing worlds of music. One is from the West as well as from India. So, we have children and adults who learn classical and contemporary music, both from the Western and Indian styles of the world. So, that makes us really interesting and very relatable to the generation of today, to the next generation, because that's the perfect way to connect to their parents and their
That's right.
families, and it
Yeah.
extends even beyond music.
That
So
is
that's
true.
kind of who we are in a nutshell.
Can you tell us, like, because I remember that story where you and we met and you were sharing about how you started, how this originally, when you go back and you were like, I want to start a music school. How was that looked like for you? How did that come across, and how that journey feels like?
Honestly, I did not imagine that I'd be doing a music school, running a school, and things like that. I have a background in engineering,
Right.
and I came here to pursue my master's in computer engineering, which I did, and I worked in IT for almost 17 years. Many different departments, all the way from programmer to product management and
Right.
such. But along the way, I learned how much I loved teaching. My mom is a music teacher, and she was teaching when I was pregnant with my first child. And then when she left, I said, it's simple, it's Saralis, that which is like lesson number one. I can do this because I've learned all my life. It's
Right.
just that I never really connected with
Connected.
music all my life. Until I started teaching, and this was about, I'd say, 20 years ago, because that's when
Oh,
my daughter
really?
I was carrying her, right? So 20 years ago, and I taught for about 4 or 5 years the way I was taught, which is Indian classical music. From the southern part of India, so Carnatic classical, which I'm in absolute love with right now. But I did not, I couldn't appreciate the beauty of it as a young child. I did not appreciate it as I was teaching as well. But when I taught and saw, the children were exactly like how I felt. Couldn't,
Oh,
they
wow.
weren't as excited as I thought they would
Would
have
be.
been.
Right.
And that's when, after teaching for 4 or 5 years, I wondered if maybe if I mixed a little bit of contemporary music, bring a bit of contemporary into classical, maybe they'll relate it to it better. Even today, kids are like, Miss Veena, can we sing that song? I'm like, yes, we can, but let's get through the technical classical part first. Let's get that out of the way so that we can get to the fun part. So I think that is where the sweet spot is, at least for me, and for most of the students at Notes and Beats, is that they need a classical foundation. I mean, there's nothing better than the foundational elements that we have,
That's
either
right.
from the West or the East. But once that's there, then they are able to identify themselves with different genres of music.
That's
So
right.
we diversify it, and this whole experience, I just fell in love with teaching. How much joy it gives me when I see a child learn from me, then this whole idea of classical and contemporary came about, and we said, okay, let's do Notes and Beats. So I rebranded myself as Notes and Beats. Then I, hired a couple of teachers who were well versed with Indian as well as Western music. And then, that's where it started, out of my basement with just about 3 or 4 students. And luckily, I think we are in the right place. I always feel like the location that we are in, Northern Virginia, which is so diverse and has so much appreciation for different forms of culture, worked towards my favor, towards Notes and Beats' favor. That's why I think the students and the families relate to it so well, and they appreciate what we do. And
Yeah.
so happy that your kids are with us, and I just can't wait for them to grow up into the talent that we currently have in our school.
They love, I'm in a process of just understanding the teacher, how the teaching works, because I have 2 little kids, and of course I'm a part-time mom, part-time teacher at home as well.
Yeah.
But I learned that one of the very important thing for kids is make them interested rather than pushing them to
Yes.
something, right?
Yes.
So a part of you where you said, where, oh, we need to make sure the kids are interested, let's add a little bit of this and that, it just shows how invested you are. It just shows how courageous you are, where you feel like, no, let's try, because like that's very difficult to do. I have seen your kids doing the practice sessions after practice session after practice session for just combining these two together, right? To come up with that idea, to come up with that thought process that, okay, I think kids are losing the interest, let me add on this one. Was that a very conscious, or it was just for you that I think they'll be interested if I add this, let me just try?
It was a very deliberate decision. However, it reminded me when you used the word courage, because back then, 13 or 14 years ago, when I wanted to do Notes and Beats, which is different from how I was taught, traditionally taught, I actually called up my mom, who's a musician herself. I called up my teacher and I said, Amma, am I breaking the rules? Am I actually stepping on the boundaries that I shouldn't?
Wow.
Because back then, fusion, or we use the term fusion very loosely around in
Yeah.
the world, but that idea of breaking the classical borders and getting contemporary into it wasn't as common. And I was really scared. I really had a
bet.
desire. My gut said I wanted to do it. I didn't know that it would work or not, but I just had that deep desire because I like it. That's
Right,
me. I mean,
right.
personally, I wouldn't call myself a purist because I'm not.
Right.
But I love it when I hear an electric guitar or a drums to a tillana or a classical. That just,
Oh, it's just
it just,
beautiful.
yes, it's just a world apart from
Yeah.
the rest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I was so scared, and I was really worried that I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do. But my mom said, go right ahead. And my teachers didn't oppose to the idea either. And then slowly it picked up. We started out with very, very simple tunes. I remember doing Rock On, Sergio, and then trying to merge it with Turkish March and, from the
Oh,
classical
how
side of
beautiful.
things. It was just, I can't remember exactly, but it was very, very, I was scared. And every time I went on stage, I was always looking for that one purist out there who would call me and say, Veena, how dare you? No, it didn't happen. It didn't
That's
happen.
good.
It didn't happen, fortunately. And now we see so much of it on the internet. I mean, across
Yeah,
the world,
yeah.
we see
Everywhere, actually.
everywhere music. But then it was very, very, I needed a lot of courage, and I knew I was stepping out of the boundary. It was very difficult. It was,
I
I
bet.
was walking on eggshells.
I
to some-
bet.
yeah.
There was this book I was reading, and it says that if you are not scared of your steps that you're
Okay.
taking, if you're
Okay.
not scared, that means you're not trying. That means you are in your comfort zone, and if you want to grow,
Yeah.
you need to
Need
come
to
out of
become
your comfort zone.
I think you're
And
right.
you need to be scared a little bit.
I think
You
you're
need
right.
to try that, to just grow as a person, grow as a business, to try something
I
new.
think
And
so.
I think you did that amazingly.
Thank you, thank you. I just feel like I'm in the right location though, because the parents are just, I mean, most of the students love music and see music the way I do. So that just worked out. But very true. I've often heard it from my husband Rajesh, and I've also told myself, it's okay. What's the worst that can happen? I'll get yelled at and I'll just scale back a bit.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm aware, I'm very familiar with both sides of the music. So if we were to make a wrong step, then we just roll back.
Right.
It's not like I'm doing any murder or anything. You know,
Yeah.
it's still music.
It's
Ultimately, it's
exactly, it's
yeah,
music. You
and
want to try something
yeah.
different. You want to do, and there are no set rules.
There aren't, and the
Right.
sky is the limit. Even today, I tell my teachers at Notes and Beats, the way we operate, we have almost like 35 teachers on in our school. Most of them are American,
Yeah.
and some of them are Indian, but it still doesn't matter. It's music to everybody,
Exactly.
and we don't have very many boundaries. We have a basic structure about how our curriculum should be. We have a guiding document that tells us the fundamentals that should be really strong. But beyond that, it is up to the teacher, and
How they
of
want to
course,
carry
they discuss
forward.
with me how to take it to have their own creativity in
Makes
the
sense.
teaching, because I feel like everybody has their own sense of music, and the
Right.
beauty lies in getting all of that out
Right.
and
And
making it
music is
together.
about the creativity, right?
Correct.
There is no set of
Mm-mm.
rules and regulations that this needs
Yes.
to be. Like, for example, if you're teaching A, there are rules how to teach A.
Yeah.
Having said that, wasn't that when you started it, wasn't that difficult for you? Because as I said, there are no set rules.
It's it's
How was that like for you?
it's very difficult. The another reason what made it very difficult for me is that I'm only an Indian musician, that too a singer. Unfortunately, I don't know an instrument, nor do I know the Western music as well. At least not at that time. I did not know it
Right.
as well as I do now. So to be able to do what I wanted to do, for the vision that I had, was extremely difficult.
Sure.
Difficult to understand, difficult to communicate, because I was working with a bunch of Americans who didn't know Indian music. And I didn't know their
Their
language of
music.
music,
Right.
Western notation. I mean, I know by ear, I have a
Right.
very
Right.
strong ear. But to read music, which is what they need, so the particular show that we did was called Destiny in 2018. 2018 was a nightmare.
Was it?
I didn't sleep for weeks. It was so hard because I knew what I wanted, but to translate that onto Western
Yeah.
notation, and I didn't
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
staff that I do now.
Yeah.
At that time, it was, yeah. So challenges like that along the way, always, which is probably true with every business, I'd say. But definitely with music, not having any boundaries, wanting to be creative, not knowing certain elements of music,
Yeah.
and to teach it to students and to deliver it in a way that blew everybody's minds, which it did.
Right.
When they saw us the very first time in 2017, Northern Virginia had not seen anything of that sort. In fact, there was nothing on YouTube. If you search for anything on YouTube for what the type of stuff that we were doing, you wouldn't find it anywhere in the world. So it was such a fresh. It
Wow.
was welcomed so well when we did all this mashups of rags and harmonies and
Yes.
bringing the scales together. It's cool.
And
I
it's
love it.
very soothing to ear. It's very, I can just listen to that for hours. It's beautifully done. When you started it, when this journey began of notes and beats, how did you make sure that when you hired a teacher, how do you make sure that they're delivering something, teaching kids something? Because like for me, when I say, okay, my kid is going to fourth grade, I exactly know how he needs to be prepped for.
Yeah.
Right. I know that he needs to know the division. He needs to know the reading comprehensions. There is set things for
Yeah.
me that I need to
Yeah.
be aware of.
Yeah.
When you are starting something out of the blue, there is nothing like this out there. And you were telling your teachers that this is what needs to be done. How was that process,
Yeah.
training your teacher, looked like for
Yeah.
you?
So we developed a set of, we call them the success pillars of Notes and Beats, and we have just 3 of those. One of them is, you might have even seen, I'll
At the
point
entry point.
at the entry point, and it is in every classroom.
Right.
You'll see a framed picture which has 3 circles: student progress, student engagement, and communication, student communication. So we identified 3 pillars within Notes and Beats. And there was also, on top of it, there was a deliberate decision to not make Notes and Beats an academy, like a university. I won't say academy, but I meant like a university where there is a set curriculum, as opposed to what you are used to in a typical public school.
That's right.
Notes and Beats focuses on the child. It's all about the student. How the student progresses is very specific to the student. It may or may not
That is very
sit
true.
very well with a lot of the Indian population, because we are used to a
Very
certain
used to, yeah.
rigid curriculum, and we've got to learn how to multiply.
Yes.
We've got to do
Yes.
fractions by second
Yes.
grade, whatever it is, right? But Notes and Beats cannot, I don't want it to run like that. I could, but I deliberately made a choice not to. To me, it takes away the fun element from the learning process. Most of the students who come to Notes and Beats, I'm seeing more students take music as a career because of what they have been exposed to at Notes and
Right.
Beats. But up until now, most of the students who come and most of the families who come, this is their primary extracurricular. This is not their career. They're not coming here to make a career
Right.
out of music.
Right.
I'm seeing some go into that line, but not yet. So to me, if I make it very rigid, if I say, teacher, you need to finish all these things and you need to push the child, we have exams, it takes away the joy of music for me, and I
Very
feel
true.
that might dissuade young children to enjoy music.
Enjoy music.
Because to me, music can be your soulmate for life, whether it's
Very
your
true.
career or not. I mean, I stumbled upon it. I had no idea. I loved math and science, and I always saw myself, doing that all
Doing
my
that.
life. But I stumbled upon the beauty of music, and I want this to be a soulmate for everybody who comes across Notes and Beats, so they can resort to it when the time comes, like I did. I've had a few hiccups along the way in my life, and every time it happened, just music was there. It was very easy to go to, and it just brings you peace. I mean, I think music can be molded whichever way you want.
You want it.
It could make you more sad, it could make you more happy, but that option exists, and
Right.
I've always chosen to make it more happy. For example, I love Asha Bhonsle for that reason. It gives me more energy, right? That type of thing. So with the teachers, there's no set curriculum, but we do have foundational elements. They must finish some foundational elements in a certain amount of time, but beyond that, I'd like the student to drive the classroom. However, you can't completely leave it to the student, because what does a 7-year-old know?
That's
honestly, right?
Exactly.
So to encourage that, that's the second pillar, which is the student engagement. That is literally the premise of Notes and Beats. I believe if it is fun, then they'll do it. So the number one thing at Notes and Beats is to make music fun, because that's how I started Notes and Beats, because that was the reason why I introduced
Right.
contemporary into my classical room, because I thought it meant to make it fun. Once it's fun, they'll listen to you. Once you say, yes, we'll do that song at the last 10 minutes of the classroom, finish this, then they will. And student engagement around that pillar, we just don't have recitals. We have master classes that we started this year. We've enforced it as a rule to the staff, saying that every month, every teacher invites their students to a master class, which is on the house. But that's where more creativity comes and the
Comes into
kids
place.
are collaborating with
Right,
each other,
right.
so they know who else is learning, what else is out there. Then we
That is
have
a great-
recitals, of course, but we have our shows which are very signature, very
Yes.
unique to Notes and
Yes.
Beats, and a lot of the students are look forward to being in that show. And it's not easy to get
It's
into that show, so you're gonna have to work through the
towards
ranks
there.
to get there. So
Right.
that really is a motivating factor. And there are many other things we do to keep up the engagement.
I'm sure. Before I get to the events, which I really want to talk about more and more, but before I get there, when you said there is no, I want to have a kids' engagement fund more priority. I want to make sure the kids are having fun learning this. Knowing our Asian roots, wasn't that a very bold move on your side to convince the parents that, hey, look, there's no set curriculum. There is not like, oh, you know what, there are no tests. There's nothing like they're going to deliver this by this age or
It
this.
looks like I'm shooting myself in the foot doing this interview with you. You're like, this woman, what curriculum is she teaching my children? I've had nothing go on at the school.
I understand that perspective. If I'm opening something,
Yeah.
I would have very similar where kids are in the center. But I also understand where our Asian roots are more like, how can you?
Yeah.
What do you mean my kid is having fun? What do you mean this is amazing and
Well,
not just main
yeah.
delivery point?
Come to Notes and Beats and you'll see it for yourself. But
How did you convince the parents? Was there never a parent came up to you and asked you that, hey, what about this or what about that?
they did.
They did. How did you handle that?
Well, this is who we are. This is my belief. I really believe that this will work. This is the result. You're seeing the other kids at Notes and Beats. Go check out YouTube. Go check out Instagram.
Right.
This works. And just trust me, it does.
It does.
And it does. But if you are so gung-ho about certifications and things like that, that possibility exists too within Notes and Beats. So we are a preferred school for certain board exams.
Right.
I should say registered school for certain exams.
Oh, wow.
Across the world. So these are certificate exams that our teachers are qualified to train a student for. So if there's a family who's really into certificates and wants to progress at a certain level, I always warn the parents. I say, we can do this, but just know that it might take the joy out of learning music. But if your child is one who wants to do it and gets jazzed up, I'm no one to stop. And the same thing, there are students who do pure classical at Notes and Beats. Right? So they don't care so much for contemporary music, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I really believe that music is your own personal thing. You need to...
Yeah. Everybody has a different choices and everybody has a
Yes.
different desire to learn or to do.
Yes. And every possibility can happen. Because it's music. There's no sky. There's no limit.
There's no limit.
So you can, if you want to pursue classical alone, you can. Contemporary alone, you can. A mix of the two, you can at Notes and Beats. So I think it works. That's what I would explain if a parent came and asked me.
That's amazing because that's again a bold move on your side.
There
right?
are a lot of risks that I take.
Yeah.
I do. And every time I'm telling myself, okay, let's see how this goes. This is not typical.
It works.
But definitely not typical. For example, the time, right? It's a pet peeve of mine. When I came to US, this was 30 years ago, right? I came in 94, right? And then this whole concept of IST, I was so upset hearing that there is a term that's called IST, that we would always start things late. And since then, I wanted to show it to the world that we stick to time.
Right.
And my very first show, which was in Cincinnati, and I was a student pursuing my master's, and then I also arranged for a benefit concert. Then the start time was 4:53, and I made sure we started on 4:53. And since then, I've probably organized about like 80 concerts, maybe.
Oh, wow.
I'm including every recital
Yeah,
that we have, or
yeah.
that would make it even over 100. But every recital, every show,
Everything starts on time.
starts on the dot. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
Which is good to have, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's
so
go.
all those are very controversial when you think of our typical
Right.
Asian and even like the way we operate in the school. We try to keep our highest standards for the students. And
But
luckily, I
should be.
have Ritu,
Yeah.
who is amazing and who is also very passionate and sees eye to eye with me on certain things.
That's
many
right.
things.
You need those people around
Yes,
you.
yes.
Definitely, you need
Yeah.
those. Tell us about the events.
Yes.
Let's get to the fun part, my favorite part. How was the first event when you put together and not the recital?
Yeah.
How was that looked like for you?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are lots of logistics, lots of things that went behind, lots of no sleep nights for you. How was that thought, planning, and execution looked like?
So for the longest time, I've always wanted to do an event which was different. I don't know what it is about me. I just like it when it's different.
Right.
I just don't like to do everything that everybody else does. So whatever it is, I want to have a slightly personalized flavor, which is different, which is radical, which is daring, stupid, risky. It's all, to me, it's all cool. I think sometime along the way I might have lost one of my sane screws, like they say. But I think you need to be stupid and
Just try something new.
obsessive. Yes, try something new to do this. But I had always wanted to do it, but I had never really conceived a proper idea. And as you know, every big show that we have, I like to have a theme. I like
Yeah.
some story behind it.
Right.
And it never came to me. Then the years went by, and personally, I had a setback with my health. I was diagnosed with cancer, and then fortunately, I'm still around, so it was a curable kind. And that's when, as I was going through chemotherapy, is when my the idea conceived in my mind to talk about cancer and to talk about what resources there are in order to be able to sustain and go through chemotherapy. Because chemotherapy is pretty daunting,
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
all know. And it was, my brother-in-law calls it the vanilla version of cancer. It was very treatable, and it was only stage 2, so I'm able to talk, good speak. But I know there are
Yeah.
cases that are very unfortunate, so I don't mean to be too proud, or
Yeah.
I'm not, I hope I'm not offending anybody by that. But I somehow was able to muster the courage to look it in its eye and not lose myself and lose my courage. And I was able to prepare myself. The day I was diagnosed, I went to One Life Fitness in Brambleton and I signed up with a personal trainer. Because even before the chemo started, I wanted to prep myself and
Right. The
get as
body.
strong as I could to sustain chemo. And then post chemo is a whole new story. So anyway, I had enough material to talk about cancer. And there was an immense sense of gratitude because I was actually getting a chance to live life for the second time. Because once you know that
Yeah.
it could be the end, it sets a different perspective for you and your family members. So this show, the very first show, it was like beautiful because I was so excited that I got cancer in a way, because now my show idea had come. And we called it Celebrate Life with Music. And it was all about how a woman, in my case obviously, a woman can look in the face of danger and still probably get the courage to fight it. And we talked about resources. We called it a charity show, and that was my first charity other than the one that I did
Yeah.
in my master's.
Yeah.
Then I realized I had always wanted to do charity, because 10 years before that looks like I had done a charity in Cincinnati as I was studying master's. But okay, let's fast forward to 2017, which is when our first charity show was put together. We performed songs like Scars to Your Beautiful. I'm not sure you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
But I had my picture project. I had a ball. I lost all my hair,
Yeah.
and I had my picture up there. And I had other women who were bald and said, that's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter how you look. It's who you are inside. So that song is all about that. And we had other songs that talked about courage, that talked about give a hoot. It's okay. It's okay. It'll come together. Just face it. And then we talked about exercises. We gave out resources on chemotherapy. I made a video of me working out in the gym, and I showed that. Then we donated whatever proceeds we raised. I think it was $13,500 to two cancer associations. One in India and one in Loudoun County. So that's kind of how it came about. It was so good. People in the auditorium were in tears through the show because of the type of music we were able to bring. We had both Western and Indian. Our costumes reflected that. The whole thing had a message, and it was great.
That must be so beautiful.
was so beautiful.
Like, at the end of the show, you must be feeling not relief, just so much of a joy in your heart.
So supercharged that I couldn't stop thinking about my next show.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it happens every single time.
That is beautiful. Like, it just gives me a teary eye just listening to the entire thing. It just shows as a person how courageous you are. You are not somebody who is just gonna be like, okay, I don't think so, I can do this.
No.
You are somebody like, okay, what's next? Let's think about it. Let's do this thing. Let's deliver. Not just do it. Let's just deliver.
Absolutely.
And that just speaks 1,000 words about you.
Thank you.
And how you have started and how you are doing and how amazing, courageous person you are.
Thank you.
And that just like, I don't have words for you. And
Thank you, Purva.
a lot of people know that's not possible, that I don't have words, but I mean, tell us about, you mentioned charity events. Tell us about the charities
Absolutely.
that you do.
So every year we do one signature event, signature of Notes and Beats. And this is the most coveted event for the students of Notes and Beats because you'll have to pass an audition. And you have to go through very rigorous training in order to be placed in this show and to be able to perform in this show. Every year the bar has been rising. Like people who come to the show, they are like, Veena, will this stop? when will the bar stop rising? And that's pressure on me. But every year we select a certain number of students. So for the students' perspective, it's amazing because they're getting pushed, they're learning new things, and they're performing on a beautiful stage. We don't settle for anything less. We go all out. We perform in places like Hilton Performing Arts, Center for the Performing Arts. This year we are going back to Tally Ho, bunch of different places, right? So from the students' perspective, it's a great opportunity.
Sure.
But every show has to be a charitable cause because I want every student of Notes and Beats to know that they can use their power in music to make a difference in somebody else's life. Music starts when words stop speaking. It is so true. You can communicate with music. So every year we take a cause that is close to our hearts. So the second year was all about autism. And I was telling the students just yesterday about this story when I saw a boy, Himal, who was on the spectrum, probably is on the spectrum now. I did not know what autism was until I met the boy in a recital of ours. Oh, wow. He finished his piano piece, turned his back to the audience and took a bow. I'm like, what's going on? Why is he facing the other direction? I did not know anything. And the mom after that started talking about autism and how no school in the area would take him for piano lessons. But apparently Notes and Beats took him. I mean, I don't know all the students, but apparently thanks to Ritu, she took him into the classroom with Mr. Gabriel. And after 2 years, it was his first recital. She was in tears and I was tearing up listening to her backstage, not knowing what was going on. So then I got to know the family. The family still finds joy in whatever they can. So what are we complaining about? Dude, I mean, what's wrong with us? So that was an inspiration to me. If they can be happy, we can. absolutely be happy. So the second show was called Destiny, Write Your Own Story. Because really, you can write your own story.
Beautiful.
So all the songs, it was so beautiful. We started with songs like Circle of Life to picture life. Then we did songs like Yu Hi Chala Chala, which is the walk of
Yeah.
life. Then we picked songs which throws, obstacles at you. Then we sang songs like Badal Pe, which is to get the courage and determination.
Yeah.
And then we ended with What a Wonderful Life. So the whole thing was around autism, and we had speakers about autism and gave out resources and stuff like that. So this year, we are doing a show called Pulse. And the charity for this year is to help 3 women. 2 women are from India. They are in a home. They've been helped by the home up until they were 18, but after 18, they are let go and they are on their own. They finished their secondary education, but they need some further education in order to find a career, a placement in the banking industry for one, and the other one wants to be an air hostess. So there needs to be some more education. So we are raising funds to support their education. And there's this another woman at the Loudon Shelter Home in Leesburg. She needs work on her oral, on her mouth. It's people at the shelter home said that they had never seen her smile because she's so afraid to smile because of her situation with her teeth and whatnot. So we've already started taking her to the orthodontist and the dentist, and everything is underway. And we will need some funds for fixing whatever issue that there is. Actually, 2 other people already approached us, but it has not been finalized. So the beauty of this all, right? It's a student-led organization at this point. I know I started it, but in 2019, I started another foundation. It's called Stage by Notes and Beats, and that is to help or to motivate our students at Notes and Beats to work on these projects. So, for example, Pulse is being run by a body of students of Notes and Beats. They are working on marketing. They are working on all the graphics and videos that you see. A lot of them are being worked on by the kids. They are helping me with instruments and tech writers and stage setup, costume design, the set list, and sometimes even the music. So kids do this. And it's just beautiful for me. It's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for me as a teacher, as the administrator of Notes and Beats, to be able to motivate my students to help somebody in need while learning music and project management and life skills and communication, and deliver this concert which usually blows people's feet. And usually is amazing. Yeah.
When you look forward now, where do you see Notes and Beats reaching? What's your dream look like for Notes and Beats for next 5 years?
That's the toughest question for me to answer.
Why is it toughest?
I can't think past today. I know like I said, I'm not the best businesswoman as an example, to set an example, because
so far what you have shared, I don't think so that you are not a great businesswoman.
I mean, every book and everybody probably says you need to have a 5 and 10 year plan. I just don't know. So I would stumble upon that answer. My direction probably at this point is to get more classical oriented. We've done this where there's a lot of contemporary feel to it, but the students have learned for 10 years now at Notes and Beats. A lot of them are really good. I want to push them more towards classical, learning more classical. So my school probably will steer maybe towards more classical with a bit of contemporary. That's what I'm feeling right now. But beyond that, I don't know, honestly.
That's fair, and that's very honest. I like that honesty.
About that. Yeah, I don't have a flashy answer.
No, it's being very honest, and I think it just shows that you're not trying to project something who you are not.
I
And that
can't.
is amazing.
It's a good and a bad thing when you're
It's
running
always a
school.
good thing, let me tell you that.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
always a
only way
good
I
thing.
know to speak, just my mind. And I'm sure my gut and my instinct is going to guide me, which it had all these years.
That's a
Just
strong
the way,
belief,
that's the way
and
I
to
live.
believe in yourself. It just shows that how strong belief you have, and you listen to your gut
Heart,
and
not the brain.
heart. Exactly. And that's how it's supposed to be. Final thought,
Yeah.
somebody who's viewing this,
Yes.
if they are thinking, okay, my kid need to learn music or they need to learn music, what's something as a teacher you would share some guidance? What would you tell it to them why they need to do something if the thought is there
Yeah.
where I want to learn?
Yeah.
Why they should start today?
I truly believe everybody should get introduced to some art form. I'm not saying just music. I mean, there's so many other art forms in this, and having an art form it's going to be your soulmate for life. I so truly believe it.
Right.
It's just going to be there by your side. It'll pop up when you need it. And if you are thinking about music specifically, look for a place that just doesn't do lessons. Look for a place that goes beyond the classroom. The learning music, especially for a child, teaching music for a child needs an infrastructure, needs a certain discipline. As much as I speak about free and being creative and all, there is still a guiding structure which is required. Some infrastructure, such as consistency in lessons, for example. You know this.
Yeah.
We've stumbled upon a couple of obstacles at Notes and Beats itself about with teachers and stuff, and it's so difficult to get the
Yeah.
child back on track. You need to have a continuum in education. You need to know to motivate a child a certain way. And in my honest opinion, music shouldn't be a silo journey. It's for you to share. It's for you to spread its wings beyond your single room, your classroom, your instrument. So find a place that gives you the ability to share with others, to learn from others, to listen to others. And the performance aspect of it, I realize that it's not everybody's cup of tea, and we do have students who don't want to perform. I respect that. But if you're one who is shy and still battling through that, the stage of the performance aspect of it, and what something like Notes and Beats provide helps you so much with your confidence, and it just guides you. It helps you. It gives you a helping hand to get over those hurdles without even knowing it. So find a place that does that, and I promise you it's going to be rewarding. It's going to give you everything you want and more. If not now, later in life, just like it did for me. I had no idea that this would be my life, and now I can't imagine a day, a second, a minute without music in my life. It has served me so well, and I would be forever indebted to it.
That is a beautiful way to put everything together, Veena. Today, I learned that courage is a very important thing that you should have it. Courage is something will push you a little bit move forward. Something I learned today that I felt I didn't have it. She taught me that today, where don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Doesn't matter how bottom of the bottom there you are. You will find a ray of hope. It's within you. That's where the courage is going to help you to move upwards, come out from it, and just push yourself. Music is something within you. Not, as she said, it's not everybody. Something about art where you are having a very stressful day, that nook is going to help you just be there, just wind down a little bit, and that's going to help you. Thank you so much, Veena, for sharing your courageous story. I think that's the word for the day. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for inspiring us, for not just for music, but for believe in yourself. Believe you got this. Believe you can do this.
You can do it.
And listen to your heart.
Yes.
And thank you so much. I'm sure there are many more risks that are coming your way that you'll take, many more courageous decisions that you are taking for Notes and Beats. And I, as a parent of a kid who's coming, my kids are learning from you. Not just that, as a viewer myself, I can't wait to see all those boundaries that you're going to break and all those amazing, amazing shows that you're going to do. Thank you so
My
much
pleasure. My
for
pleasure,
coming here
Purva.
today, sharing this journey, and just taking the time and talking to us today.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you.
Good luck to you with all the other guests too.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.